again with me. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Come back again.
My name is Jamie Brenner, and I'm a gay Jew. From a young age, I always knew I was different. I grew up in a Jewish household which always respected the traditions that came with the religion. I have never been incredibly religious, but being a Jew is still very important to me, as to me it is more than just about the worship of God, but being part of a wider community and understanding our history and where we came from. Unfortunately, there are many people in my religion that believe the way I was born is sinful and wrong. This, for me, raised the question of whether I can still be part of this community I was born into, as the person I was actually born as. Did you always know that I was gay?
I didn't always know, but about a year before you told me, and you came out when you were 17, I had it kind of went through my head, because you were always surrounded by loads of pretty girls, but you were never actually going out with any of them. So that's when it did kind of go through my head. Let me just close this door. Hold on, I just need to go for this. It didn't really, I don't really remember how I felt then. I remember how I felt when you told me.
How did you feel when I told you?
Even though it had gone through my head, I was actually really shocked, and I was really shocked, and I don't know, I was actually reeling from it for 3 weeks, and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody at all. I didn't discuss it with anybody. I didn't discuss it with your father. I just kept it to myself, and I didn't actually know what I was feeling. So I Googled, my son's just told me he's gay and I don't know what I'm feeling. And I couldn't think of anything else apart from the fact that you told me you were gay, and I just didn't know what I was feeling. I think I was just feeling shock.
After speaking with my mum, I wanted to gain a greater understanding of what it meant for other people like me to grow up being both gay and Jewish, whether as they got older they felt they could be fully part of this community, or whether the religion pushed them away. What did it mean for me and other people like myself that so desperately wanted to be accepted into this community we were born into, but never felt entirely comfortable within?
I think I've got a better understanding of my religious views now, age 30, than I ever have. Partly it's connected to being gay. I do find it strange that, you know, pretty much most religions will condemn being gay, being lesbian, being trans, being bisexual, and it's all based on something that they just can't prove. They can't prove that these stories and this book is real. They can't prove that any of this is real. And it's odd to be standing in the Jewish Museum when I'm so kind of removed from the religion. Which is weird, because is the Aleph in there? No. Is the Aleph in there? Well, obviously you got the Jewish, you got the Jewish alphabet, and there's that concept that says you can never forget your Aleph. You can leave Judaism, but there's always going to be something that reminds you that you're Jewish. So now it is weird, no matter how much I kind of say I'm sort of Jewish, or I just say that, you know, I'm an atheist, or I'm agnostic, or whatever, there's always something there to remind me that I was actually born into Judaism. And it's not just the fact that every time I look down to take a piss, I've got no foreskin.
There are some people, unlike Rob, that feel so connected to God that being gay cannot possibly hold them back from being so close to him.
I think it is important for gay, lesbian, etc. Jews to have rabbinic leaders, role models, if you like, who are gay and who are out and who are encouraging and supportive. So I like to think that's a really important benefit that I bring. To the wider Jewish community, I think it's also important that there's diversity amongst rabbis. You know, coming out is not something you do once. Everybody probably comes to realize that. You have to keep coming out over and over and over again, because you're always meeting people who don't know you, who haven't got a clue who you are. So whenever I do a wedding, let's say, do lots of weddings, and you meet all the people who are there for the wedding who don't know you from Adam. And if you get chatting to them, and they want to know who you are, where you're a rabbi, and you get talking, and then you have to say to yourself, well, you know, am I going to tell them who I really am? Am I going to come out on this occasion? And you always have to make that judgment. Is it worth it? Is it relevant enough to this particular encounter? And my answer is usually, yeah, let's be out there. So I'm constantly coming out to people, and of course there's that moment of slight surprise. Oh, can gay people be rabbis? And and sometimes there's non-Jewish people, sometimes Jewish, and so I feel I'm kind of bearing witness that Judaism is big enough, is broad-minded and open enough, is modern enough, is accepting enough to have people like me as rabbis and leaders within it.
In recent years, an organisation was set up called Rainbow Jews, run by project manager Surat. Rainbow Jews is a scheme that has been created to celebrate and showcase the history of Jews within the LGBT community. It captures the voices and experiences of Jewish LGBT people in the UK through oral histories and archive creation.
I come from a very secular background, so religion didn't come in for a very long time, so there were just other considerations about sexual orientation and gender identity. And I never felt that was a problem for me or for my family background or even my friends. I didn't really know any very religious people, and I didn't go to a Jewish school, or there was nothing of that notion in my upbringing and early 20s. It started coming in when I actively went back to identifying as a Jewish person, right? That was started really becoming pressing when I was living on this small Roman Catholic island, and I felt very much closeted. You know, I was like rather than closeted gay, I was a closeted Jew. And I thought, no, but I am Jewish and I want to be Jewish. And it was all very conservative there. And then sort of, these considerations started. What about religion, sexuality? And I am Jewish and I'm queer. And as we say, sometimes tongue-in-cheek and sometimes also on a serious level, I'm twice blessed. It is sometimes hard, I'd say, to think that many people who identify themselves as Jewish are against LGBT people. I find it in particular hard in terms of in my work. I work as a human rights activist, campaigner. I run an LGBT Jewish oral history project, Rainbow Jews. So I'm all the time around a very progressive background, LGBT and Jewish. And then people say at conferences or just even in my friendship circle say, oh, but religion is against gays, and what they have done even in history, and what they do still to LGBT people, and all those conversion therapies, and what they say in the papers and all the media. And I do feel sometimes it's true, there is a part of religion which I disagree with, and I'm talking about mainstream religion, right? I'm not talking about my organization and my community and my beliefs, but I do feel there are issues and they have to be addressed.
When I was 13, I had a bar mitzvah, which is a coming-of-age ceremony and party for when a boy officially becomes a man within Jewish law. 7 years later, I decided to sit down with my mum to watch my bar mitzvah video. Do you think that someone that is gay and Jewish can fully be part of the community, the Jewish community?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but they're like outcast.
Do you feel an outcast?
Yeah, sometimes. Definitely. Like if I go to shul and stuff.
Really?
You can't like properly connect with the things that people are saying when you know that the people around you that are saying them don't approve of you, and you're part of this religion, but they they don't want to accept you, but you
Yeah.
really, like, I still want to be a part of it, because it's more than just like a religion, it's also like a community.
Yeah, it's a community. And I hear what you're saying, and I never really thought about it. And I probably think I'm only more open-minded now because you're gay, but I don't know. I think it can't be easy,
No,
can it?
no.
No, it can't be easy. But there are a lot of Jewish gay people.
There's a lot of Jewish gay people, and a lot of Jewish gay people don't come out
Yeah.
because they can't, because of their religion.
I mean,
So-
do you actually think of people that, I know you can't really say this, but
What?
that are gay, that you know are gay, that just absolutely they cannot come out?
Oh my God, there's loads of people, and Jews in particular as well.
That's so sad.
There's so many Jews.
That you know of.
Yeah, oh my God, there's so many Jews that are just like so gay. People I know, younger and older than me, and same age, that are obviously gay, and I know they're gay, and I think they've told me that they're gay.
Really? That's so sad.
That they'll never come out because of
the commute of how we live.
It's not even just like it's not even about like the worship of God and stuff. It's not about because, oh yeah, I'm so religious and it's against what God says. It's because the Jewish religion is such about tradition and stuff.
Yeah.
And this community.
I agree.
That it's more so almost like the gossip.
Yeah.
That they're scared, that people are scared of.
Yeah.
And
I have to say that's what I felt like at the beginning. I thought I can't actually face anybody because I thought I actually couldn't deal with the gossip. But 3 years down the line, I just don't care. Let them gossip.
I decided to meet with my friend Joe to get his view on what it is like for someone that is a similar age to me, who enjoys going out on a Friday night, but still embraces the traditions that come along with the religion.
The thing is with Judaism, what's so nice about it is that we're as much a religion as we are a race, genetically, and a culture, and a nation, and a community, which I think is unique among any world religion. So if someone asked me what religion I am, whereas a Muslim who didn't believe in God, or someone who's born Christian who didn't believe in God would say an atheist, I would still say I'm Jewish, because it's such a big part of my life. There's a defense. There's 613 laws and commandments in Judaism, one of which is thou shalt not lie with a man and say with a woman, for it is a, whatever the translation of the word is. Some people call it abomination, some people call it mistake. But that's getting into, deep analysis of the Torah, which I'm in no position to do, and in no position to want to do. But I think people use religion as an excuse for their pre-existing homophobia than as an enabler to them being homophobic, if that makes sense. Homophobia has always existed and probably will always exist, and it is unjustifiable as far as I'm concerned. So people will find whatever reason they can to justify their feelings of hatred or whatever, and an easy way to do that is religion.
We oppose gay marriage, gay rights, and all these that are just excuses to rebel against the Almighty. Gay rights, gay marriage, LGBT, and all these other transgressions against the Torah is not legitimate. Let us respect the words of God.
In today's generation, we have been brought to accept or be explained that there is a condition called homosexuality. That means that someone has a tendency, has an affection to a member of their own sex. A boy to a boy, a girl to a girl. That might be okay in a platonic environment, but when it comes to a sexual environment, it brings a lot of problems with it.
I was very interested to find someone who had been so pressured by the Orthodox community that they went as far as to find a cure for this condition that the rabbi speaks of. I was put in touch with a man living in New York called Jason Littman, who had tried going through therapy to cure himself of being gay.
It was my own decision to go through reparative therapy. My family didn't know about it at that time. I was too scared to tell them. My community didn't know it at that time. It was really just rabbis I had spoken to on the internet. And I would say it was 2001 when I really started exploring reparative therapy a lot, and I was also exploring the gay world, so I was, starting to go out a little bit and explore and go to gay bars and gay clubs. And I think what really pushed me into reparative therapy was after 9/11 here in New York, when I think I was just so freaked out by everything going on in New York, and it made me think a lot about life, which I think was for a lot of people here in New York at the time, and made me realize what I wanted. And I realized like what I really wanted was to get married and have a wife and have kids. And I was already starting to date women, and that's what my friends in the Orthodox Jewish community were doing. And I just realized that in order to get what I want, I had to go to reparative therapy. And it was an organization that offered me a lot of hope, and kind of that's what I needed at that time, because going into the gay world seemed so scary.
So was there a time throughout the therapy where you thought that maybe this is actually working?
Many times I was. I was in reparative therapy for 5 years. So I think I wanted to believe it. I think it offered me hope. I was still very strongly entrenched in the Orthodox community. So I think I wanted the hope. For me at that time, it wasn't a choice between reparative therapy and coming out. It was a choice of reparative therapy or probably harming myself. And that's really the misconception about reparative therapy. I think for so many, reparative therapy is a lifeline, because to me at that time, I would have never thought of going to a gay affirmative therapist. I actually needed reparative therapy to be in an environment that allowed me to deal with these gay feelings in a way that was supportive of my, I guess, Orthodox Jewish orientation.
I thank God that I'm not homosexual. Personally, I thank God that I don't have those tendencies, because I have children. That's my blessing. If I was homosexual, I probably would not have children. I would not have grandchildren. I would not have my blessing. It is true. There are some people who have homosexual tendency, have managed for X number of years to run a heterosexual life, and they have children. They may have suffered throughout that time. But there are lots of homosexually inclined people who don't have children. And when they will reach their older age, they will not have the wealth and the riches that I have in having children and grandchildren.
But do you think that's right, that what they're doing, if they are homosexual deep down and they're married to a woman and have children, is that not bad?
The Torah does not forbid a person with homosexual tendencies to marry a woman. The Torah does not say that just because you are born with homosexual tendencies, you do not have the opportunity to achieve and reach that intense holiness that can only be achieved through the marriage, kosher marriage, of you and your wife, a Jewish woman.
I always grew up with this whole idea that, in times of struggle, always to turn to God, not away from God. And I think I kind of felt like the same thing once I came out and I was struggling with, being religious and gay. And it was never an option to me to turn away from God, because I was so ingrained in me to turn towards God in times of trouble. And I felt like I was in that time then. But I also knew I didn't want to fight the Orthodox community in any way. That wasn't me. I was very confident with my Jewish identity, and I was now becoming confident about my gay identity. And I really kind of just wanted to celebrate the two notions.
What would you do if you had a child that came to you, a child of your own that came to you and told you they were homosexual? It became clear to me that many religious Jewish people were not just against homosexuality, but had a genuine fear at the very idea of it, especially if it was something that would put their social status within the community at risk. I wanted to find other people like Jason who had reached a stage in their life where they can allow their sexuality and religion to work harmoniously.
My religion was kind of separate to my gayness, but it was important for me to try and find a way to bring the two together, for them to to live harmoniously and to make up my character.
When I was growing up, I think I put the fact that I had these feelings that I might be gay, I put them to the side. I thought I wanted to concentrate more on, you know, being a good Jewish boy, and I didn't think that you could do that and be gay at the time, because you have to remember this was early 80s, things were very different then.
Gay Jews in London was founded around 4 years ago now, and it was born out of the fact that there was another group in existence in London called Jewish Gay and Lesbian Group, and they'd been around for 40 years, and there was a gentleman called Ben Kay who thought that Jewish Gay and Lesbian Group wasn't catering to the needs of him and to other to younger gay Jewish people in London. So he founded a group called Gay Jews in London.
Well, I must have at some point thought that it was important for me to marry a Jew, because I, a few years ago, started a group for other gay Jews, and I think that, you know, I don't normally like to admit that the reason was to maybe try and find a partner, although I guess I probably just admitted that now.
I guess by thinking that there was 613 commandments in the Torah and it's physically impossible to keep all of them. And I felt that if I fought against the kind of the gayness in me, then that would make me feel quite negative about everything else in life, and therefore how could I be a good Jew and celebrate all the other things that the Jewish culture has to offer if I was constantly fighting that side of me?
I think the Jewish religion is unique in as much as it's not just a religion. It's about your heritage, it's about who you are, it's about what your values are, it's about embracing the family life and the family traditions. And so I think that, you know, for me, my religion is very, very, very important, but not from maintaining all the laws and the commandments and the mitzvot, but from this is where I came from, this is who I am, this is my identity, and this is how I relate to people.
So it's a more, do you think, cultural thing?
For me, it's a very cultural thing, but for a lot of other people, it's a religious thing as well. I mean, I'm even at the point that when I'm in synagogue for a wedding or a bar mitzvah, or when I'm going to a funeral, I have issues singing along with all of the prayers, which I know by heart and know very well and don't need a prayer book to be able to read them. But I have issues joining in because I feel an outcast from my religion. Mm-hmm. Yes, there will always be the haters in the Jewish religion, in Christian religion, you know, in every religion. But the mere act of hating is a sin itself. So, you know, I think that's great, that if you hate me for being gay, then you are transgressing a Jewish law in your own right. And you know, I think that, you know, remember the 10 Commandments, love your neighbor as your brother. And, you know, I think that's very important because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a human being and I have every right to occupy this planet as everybody else does. And I think it's very sad that that people have nothing better to do than to hate and criticize. I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by people who have always supported me. Being Jewish is such a big part of my life, as with it comes a history of my family, traditions I respect and take part in, as well as a community I've built some of my greatest friendships within. As for being gay, it is also something I was born as, and would never turn my back on, even though there are some people within my religion that may not approve of who I am. Although it does not define me, it is an aspect of me that contributes to who I am, just as much as the colour of my hair, or even my religion. Being gay and Jewish combines two different minorities that have both been faced with ridicule and exile in the past. I cannot change either of these aspects of my life, but I feel I will continue to embrace them both as they both play a big part in the person I have grown into today.